All right, y'all. Hey, this is Coach in the Fight. I got a whole lot to talk about, and that there is the problem because it's like I call what I used to call, what I'm still maybe even still call fibulating. Is where you got so much to do and you don't know where to get started, so you just sit there and go from thing to thing to thing. But the thing that's jumping out in my head right now is Matthew 24. So let's go there first. I don't know what all this stuff is. Oh, this is Chris's pump stuff. So I'm gonna save this first. So yeah, this is random right now. I don't know what it's gonna turn into. Dear Heavenly Father, come to you today, O Lord, asking that you will open up all communication pathways that we may hear you through all the words that are spoken. In your son's name we pray. Amen. Alrighty then. You know, I really said that prayer too fast. I'm trying to get all the words in, but it's actually too fast because you were supposed to actually meditate on the word. Father, what's the other words you're supposed to meditate on, Chris? I talk loud. Hallow, and what was the other one? Heaven. Heaven, hallow, and Father. So actually pause on those words. And what is it? Does it say meditate? He say he thinks so. I think so too. But we could be wrong. We're looking at a number here. Oh, for some gold we just sold. Just sold some gold today. Anyway. We was looking at Matthew 24. Oh no, we was saving this for Chris. What you want me to save all this stuff? You got it down here, Chris asked. Understand simple pump. He'll get that right one day. Anyway, we are going to do. No, we're closing that, weren't we? Don't give me all of that now. And this was mine that I was doing, but don't need that right now. All right, I'm creating a whole bunch of editing space right now. So let's just go on to Matthew 24. I want to show us something we've been thinking about. Come on now. Is my mouse working? Mouse is working. Eyeballs is not. They just do some wickedness up for you. You see that? See how they do? Yeah, but what was wicked about that? Yeah. Anyway, moving on. We might be able to pause and see. I'm trying skimming and see where we want to be. But he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. It's talking about how tough it's going to be. Wherefore, when ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation, now immediately said to the end. Now he's talking about this abomination of desolation. Now he's telling them to split. Spoken of about Daniel the prophet stand in the holy place. He said, whoso readeth, let him understand. What he's talking about is Daniel said that there was going to be a thing to show up down there, and you can look up this abomination of desolation in different translations, and you can get a better understanding. And because when they saw this thing, they all split, they all ran, just like he said do. Then let him which is in Judea, that was down there in the city, kind of flee into the mountains, and that's what they did. 70 AD, they did that. But let's move on ahead now. Right here, for then, like ahead, yeah. For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, nor shall ever be. Now, let me see. Trying to find a particular verse. I don't know if I've passed it yet. See right here where it's talking about, for wheresoever the carcass is, there will the eagles be gathered. Now, I don't know if I heard somebody else or a spirit told me that, or I read it somewhere, but what they're talking about, guys, is the that war that's going on over there in the Middle East, Jerusalem. Yep, that's where they gonna gather at, and then anyway. It don't tell you what's going to happen to him. You got to read other parts. That's why you need other books to expound on this one book, on this one verse. I mean, immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened. Okay, now what this I understand. I got this from another video too. I know I got this from a video, maybe even two or more. That anytime there's been a great tribulation, the Lord has used eclipse or lunar eclipse, solar eclipse. I'm not really sure, but He's used these eclipses to signify His doing stuff. Like you can look back in like when Rome was destroyed. You can look back in when Carthage was destroyed, and when those other places were destroyed. You remember any more of them, Chris? He ain't listening to them. And were destroyed, then you see that the moon or the sun, well, both of them, they did this particular dance where there was an eclipse that went across the land in a certain pattern. And that happened throughout history, and it's just happened, I think last year or the year before, um, where it actually went through all of the towns named Salem, and they were putting a connection together that Salem and Jerusalem are the same word, Jerusalem. And anyway, let's move on. Okay, and then shall appear a sign of the Son of Man. Now I done passed it. So these are the two verses I actually wanted to talk about right here. So let's go back. All right, right here. Now, 29. And we're in Matthew 24. Praise the Lord. He says, immediately after the tribulation of those days. See, this is what we have to understand here is that we're already in the tribulation. He's saying after the tribulation is over, this is what's going to happen. Now, you can go to Revelations and you can get some further explanation on what, is going on. There's chapters that cover, there's chapters in Revelations that cover just this phrase alone. It ain't not this and not this down here. I mean, chapters alone that just this part right here, immediately after the tribulation of those days. Anyway, let's go. Shall the sun be darkened? See, then that is a solar eclipse, right? Because if you look at this thing, it's actually pretty amazing that it hit all of these towns named Salem, and it's supposed to do it again in 7 years, where it actually completes an X through America. Like if you was to take America and draw X starting down there in Florida and ended up in Alaska, and then start down there in I think Texas and go all the way up to Maine. And yeah, the Lord about to draw X on his whole Gizmo. He already drew the first X. Folks were still asleep though. But look right here. Let's keep going. And the moon shall not give her light. Now that's a lunar eclipse. All right, and then right here it says, and the stars shall fall from heaven. Now I witnessed this for myself. Right, because I went out there and it was just like I was out there, doing regular stuff at night. We were all of a sudden in the country where we had been living in the city with all of the city lights for the past 8 years. We probably didn't see much starlight until we came back, down here, and all of a sudden the sky lit up, and the first thing I noticed was all of this stuff flying around. Some of it's still going around, but you have to look for it now. It seems like it's over now. But, this was talking about 2014, 2015. You couldn't go out there without seeing it. You know what I'm saying? I would have bet you, I don't even like playing with money, but you know what I'm saying? If you want to be silly, you know what I'm saying? I bet you $5, like in 5 minutes, we're going to see one go across that sky. Anyway, I don't like taking people's money. And where we at? Moon shall not give her light. We're in 29. Let's go on. If you're listening to this part, you're in Uncut. And the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. Now, this is the part early when I was reading this in a big white that I was thinking, I need another translation. So let's go up here and get one. Too bad y'all can't hear what's actually playing. Y'all just hear me making noise like somebody got headphones on. Should let you listen to it. Nope. I'm trying to make this short. All of these chapters are about 5 minutes long. If you could take 5 minutes every 5 minutes, you can get through whole chunks of the Bible. I'm serious. 29. And y'all can pause it, I think, or put it in super slow motion. I'll slow down so you can. You can pause it and read it. All right, here we go. Over here it says, well, let's finish over here. It says, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. So we did finish over there, but we're over here. I ain't going back up to see what version it was. I ain't going that way back up there. I could. Let's see. Let's give them credit. Zoo. International NIV. Zoo. No, it's 29. What? Okay. The sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give its light, and the stars will fall from the sky, and the heavenly bodies shall be shaken. The heavenly bodies. So it's saying the same thing. I went for another translation and saying heavenly bodies, and that's, I don't know. Maybe I was hoping it would say the earthly bodies because, then it would kind of make sense. But it doesn't. Let's see what else it says. It was 2 verses, right? 29. For so who, no, wait, what? Wait a minute. Was that the right verse? No. We're on 30. And then shall appear the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. All right, now let's go find another translation. I'm going to find 2 more. Because, I don't know. Be like, yep, he trying to find something now. What are you doing now? Yep, all right. And we want to kill this one. And let's kill, no, add another one. Let's change this one. I met a guy that had a Bible that I had never heard of before. I think it was this one, CEV, Contemporary English Bible. Yeah, so let's check these two. Going down to 29. And the powers in the sky will be shaken. The powers in the sky. What does powers in the sky mean will be shaken? What is powers in the sky? It's going to turn into a whole nother class. Because I came here looking and see this somewhere in some translations. No, well, let's check one other place. Let's check one other place. One other place. Let's check a whole nother place. 24, 29. Did I do this? Is this what I'm looking for? Nope. We're looking for this interlinear Bible. This is BibleHub.com. I will put, yeah, I'm gonna go here. Y'all can't see this little wicked button I'm pushing up here. But I'm gonna call this. I want to put an H on it. Let's see if it'll work. Because I think I already have an H. Boop. I got him now. I'll move him later. All right, so what this Bible is going to show us, I'm going to go up here to interlinear. Let me see if I can try some 24, 29. Praise the Lord. All those years of HTML, whatever. Uh-oh. We got images. We passing what we want anyway. Okay, now right here, the sky and the powers of heaven will be shaken. Now right here when it says sky, it has this word here, which we don't know what any of those make sense. So let's click here at the strong number. What this is going to show us is the definition of the word, and it says heaven, sky and heaven, right? So there's a key. Sky and heaven, whenever you see the word sky, you should always think heaven. And let's blow it up a little bit. You'll blow it up when we edit it. All right, so it says it's a noun, it's masculine, masculine. Okay, that's important. It says the sky, the heaven, that's the short definition. Definition, heaven, the visible heavens, the atmosphere, the sky, the starry heavens, the spiritual heavens. Yeah, it is. It's a whole nother thing that I was thinking about. I was thinking of an earthquake. This is not an earthquake. This is a spiritual quake. Like a spiritual quake. Like a well, let me start making up stuff. How about that? That'll make it easy on me and easy on you. It may not be easy on the guy who knows the truth, but what it seems to me is that he's saying is like there's some type of spiritual awakening, right? Like there's a shaking in heaven, like maybe everybody gets some type of a jolt to where they where they are spiritualized, like something goes on, like I'm gonna tell you how people usually get spiritualized. This is how people have normally gotten raptured up until this point, the pre-tribulation rapture. There's people who's been raptured even before the 144 even thought of being raptured. You know what I mean? Because you know what it means is aware. You're aware when you because you're aware of what's going on, and that changes things. It's one thing to be carrying around, you know what I'm saying, something that's extremely valuable and you don't know what it is, to actually have this thing and you know what it is, you know what I mean? And then it changes things. So, and that usually happens like in a car crash. You know what I'm saying? Somebody in a burning car and they start praying, all of a sudden they ain't never prayed before, and all of a sudden they meet the Father right then. You know what I'm saying? At that very second. You know what I'm saying? Or there's, gunfire, or, you know what I'm saying, somebody gets sick, or they get sick, or, you know what I'm saying? It's always a tragic moment when not always, but for the majority of people, everybody I've ever talked to, it's always been something. A lot of times it even be like financial stuff. Like they didn't know how a bill was going to get paid, and they prayed, and all of a sudden it was paid. And, so yeah, that's what this is sounding like to me. This is a whole nother gizmo. I'm gonna go ahead and am I gonna end it here? Now let's get one more verse. Where we at? Third, yeah, because look here. Because it's gonna get real deep right here. It says, "And then shall appear the sign of man in heaven." So you're gonna be able to see him. Stay. It's saying you're gonna be able to, you're gonna see his sign in your spiritual, which means you're gonna recognize him in your conscience. Who does it say? And then shall the sign of man appear in heaven. So maybe he's talking about certain people, or maybe he's talking about everybody. However, I have, until further notice, until the scripture proves me otherwise, I have to believe that everybody gets raptured at the seventh seal. But Maybe everybody gets a glimpse of it because you know the Third Testament says that people fight their spiritualism. Stay. He said there's certain people who enjoy spiritualism so much. You can imagine they got it going on so much in this world that they don't want nothing to do with no change. They don't want to, because you got to be humble. All of your stuff got to be taken away. Ain't that what Herman say? What did he say? When you had all of that stuff, you was unprofitable. I mean, you guys are, I ain't gonna point the finger at you. I'm gonna go back and look and see if you clicked off when I said this. But yeah, you're unprofitable. You know what I'm saying? And just like I was when I was out there working a 9 to 5, all I could do was survive, right, Stay? All we could do is, you know what I'm saying, put food on the table. You know what I'm saying? Keep the car going, keep the bills paid, and you know what I'm saying, take care of your charitable obligations, and you ain't got nothing left, right? You mean you had to save up if you was trying to go on a trip or something like that, but what no, just no flat out just extra unless, you know what I'm saying, you was balling. Maybe them folk was making a whole lot more money than I was, and they like, you know what I'm saying, money ain't no object. See, once they get to that status, then you can kind of understand that, money ain't no object. I couldn't imagine. I couldn't imagine. And my credit score was like 850. The Son of Man in heaven. I'm learning the Spirit talking to me, y'all. I might come back and do a whole nother class. This name may not make it because I got to change gears completely from what this class started off to be. And then shall the tribes of the earth mourn. Now the tribes of the earth, that's talking about the African Americans and all the other descendants of that's talking about bloodline Israel because he's talking specifically about them. Now, I'm gonna say I am 75% sure and declining because let's think about it for a second. Could he very well be talking about grafted in Israel too? All the tribes of the earth, yeah, yep, he is because of the word right here. All of the tribes of the earth. So everybody's going to mourn. And you say everybody like, well, am I going to mourn? Is Stacy going to mourn? Is you know what I'm saying? Christian going to mourn? It says all tribes. It don't say everybody. It says all tribes. Now, that's important. All tribes. Because, if everybody in this community is mourning and Christian is the only one that's not, who's going to really notice? Especially if he's the one, well, maybe with the exception of, I should say, if he's out there, helping others, if he's out there doing for others, all of a sudden Christian comes up and picks, I don't know. This doesn't really sound like does it sound like Atonement Day? No, I don't know. Like I said, we change the directions. And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven. Okay, so now I'm saying I'm 80% sure he's talking about spiritualism right here. So maybe not so much as a earth-shaking event, which is still going to be an earthquake. You better believe that. But this right here in Matthew 24, verse 30, he's talking about you being awakened. Stacey, you think you're awake? She said, she's sleepy. She got on the bed. She said, she get ready. I understand you say you about to take a nap. Yes, ma'am. Hmm. Yeah, so she decided to use a pun. It was quite hilarious. I just laughed on the inside. All right, Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. Power and great glory. Now, this will be amazing. You know, I'm not dogmatic on anything. You know what I'm saying? You see what I'm doing. I'm learning the scripture right here with you. You know what I'm saying? It should be live. If I thought some folk would tune in, y'all could be helping me out. Like, oh no, coach, you way off base. You know what I'm saying? You on third base when you should be on first base. You know what I'm saying? I walk straight across the field. I know how to hold my finger up just like I'm in church. Son of man coming in the clouds of heaven. Let's look over here and see what this other stuff says over here. In this version, let's go all the way back up to 30. Then the sign of the Son of Man will appear in heaven, and then all of the tribes of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. Well, the true answer is right here. When you go back to the Greek. Let's go back to the Greek. Let's just hit the back button. Might have been a bad idea. I just lost that page when we get ready to save it. That page won't be there. I can fix it. What I would actually have to do, what I would actually come over here and control copy. Then come over here, open up a whole nother screen, control paste, let that one run. Then come back over here. Now look at it. Darken, and the moon shall not give the light. Well, do we need any more keys? What we're over here doing is trying to get keys. Let's see, over here it says, then the Son of Man will appear in heaven. Then all the tribes of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. Okay, that sounds like the same thing. That was 30. Right after those days, it says 29. 30 says, then a sign will appear in the sky, talking about heaven, and there will be the Son of Man. Okay, so now what I understand the sky to be is consciousness. The cloud to be the cloud consciousness. The what they call the luminary cloud, where you are awakened. The not only awakened, you're awakened to the cloud, but the luminary cloud means it enlightens you. It enlightens you as in making you understand stuff. You know what I mean? And so that's what I understand the sky to mean. And so that's why I'm a little bit surprised to see it here in verse 30, because I'm expecting the earth to shake, and no, it ain't. Our consciousness is shaking all of a sudden. But you know, that's what Revelation says too. Let me jump over here. I wish I had my camera going. Matter of fact, I can't focus that little thing. And it's another class on that. Matter of fact, I'm gonna cite the other class that we did on parallel narratives. I'm just gonna go over here to my notes. I'm pushing. All right, I'm over here looking in the little notebook, and what I got now is pretty much coming out of, well, I'll just say, first you see visions. Now that's in chapter 12, and it's also in chapter 4. The whole 12 verse 1 and chapter 4, according to my notes, they're the same thing. Chapter 12 verse 2 and chapter 5 talk about the birth and labor pains. Verse 12 verse 3, let me say chapter 12 verse 3 and chapter 6 verses 1 through 11 talk about the dragon. Okay, and I think that's just seals over there if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. That's the false prophet, the love grows cold, the promises, you have those that endure, you have the gospel being preached and all of that through verses in chapter 6. And then over here, notice the next thing you happen is the second coming. Well, you can't see it unless you looked at the other thing, the other video, but it says the second coming is in chapter 12 verse 5. And that's the second coming. I should have jumped over there and showed that to you. All right, so 1 was the visions. See the wonder in heaven? There's your visions. And then 2, we said, was the birth and labor pains. And it says, she cried, travailing in birth. 3 we said was the dragon, right? And there appeared another one in heaven. See, it's the dragon. But I guess it's the other verses. I came here because you wouldn't have been able to see, all of chapter 5, and you wouldn't be able to see, that big part of chapter 6. And then there's some earth pains there in chapter in verse 4. Have we gotten into? And there appeared another one in here. Yes, the dragon. Then 4 says, and his tail drew a third part of the stars in heaven, and it cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman, which was ready to be delivered to devour her child as soon as it was born. So let's see. And this is the corresponding to the earth pains over here in 12:4 says, and I beheld, and when he had opened the sixth seal. So that's the sixth seal, but no, see, he's opening the sixth seal here. And lo, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth of hair, and the moon became as blood. So that's when the sixth seal was opened. But I understood that the sixth seal was opened in 1866 that's when I understand the sixth seal to be open. So you would have to look at it for an earthquake back then, right? But then it says, and the sun became as black as sackcloth of hair. So there's a big jump between these two. You're going from 1866 all the way up to 2017, just that quick. Or whenever we had those eclipses here in the past. I know they go all the way back to 15 or whatever. And he says, and the moon became as blood, and the stars of heaven fell into the earth, even as a fig tree casts untimely figs when she is shaken of a mighty wind. Now, this part right here is very well talking about, let's see what I have in the notes here, 16 and 13. Yeah, those are the earth pains. This right here is talking about the same thing over there in Matthew 24, that you have this shaking. So that sounds like an earth impact right there. Let me see, is there another place on my notes for an earth impact? Nope. Nope. So that's the earth impact then. So maybe that's what we're waiting for. We're waiting for something to fall out the sky. I don't know. I know we're waiting for an event. I'm trying to figure it out, what event it is. Because I want to be able to say, I told you so. You know that, Will? When that mess come falling out the sky and knock all our river systems out of whack, and everybody looking all halfway crazy, I want to be able to say, so, I told you it's going to happen. I've been telling you for 23 years. You just didn't have the words then. We got them now. Look over here. The Lord's giving us to them now. He's giving them to everybody. He's giving them to everybody. Because if you see all the stuff he's giving to people just on YouTube alone, imagine what the rest of the planet, all 7.7 billion people are getting. People in remote places ain't even never heard of YouTube or television. Anyway, so yeah, that's what this is looking like. Now, there's some other places to look to. Yeah, here we are on my other page. Now, what we're looking at is verse 13, and when I come over here and I look at 13, it's also corresponding to Matthew 24, verse 29, according to my notes. Now let's go back to 24:29. I do trust what I did then more than what I'm doing now. Let's read this version over here. I ain't read none of that. It says, when the Son of Man appears, 29, right after those days, those days of suffering, we're in the days of suffering now, the sun will become dark, that's already happened, and the moon will no longer shine. The stars will fall, and the powers in the sky will be shaken. Yeah. So I believe that's what we're waiting for, guys. We're waiting for the earth impact. And there's a lot of people talking about it. But, all right, well, like I said, we like to hear what I think first and then go look at what everybody else says. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this start processing while I go look and see what some other people say. I'll put up the raw and uncut, keeping it short. Herman's Academy. Power of patience, continence, and faith. We teach virtue.